So let's talk about the general framework which we are going to use in this course. There's a very interesting paper written by Yacine El-Mandra. He's an analyst at ARK Invest. ARK Invest is a tech-focused asset manager. They are very successful and they were very early in Bitcoin. So Yacine published this piece earlier this year in Jan 2021. He proposes a framework to structure Bitcoin on-chain analysis. And I really like this framework and I've used it to structure the content of this course. So thanks a lot, Yacine. So in this framework, you have 3 layers of analysis that build upon each other and that cater to the needs of different types of investors. In the first layer, the most fundamental layer, you have network health indicators. Getting a clear view of network health is critical for basically everyone, market participants as well as investors. There are 3 main themes in this first layer: the monetary integrity of the network, the security of the network, and the overall usage and growth of the network. So we'll cover this in part 1 of this course and look at all of the on-chain metrics and the raw data that allows us to analyze the health of the Bitcoin network. This is going to be very important for long-term investors. Over the long run, the price of Bitcoin is going to be tied to these health metrics. If the monetary policy is intact, if the network is secure, and if adoption is growing, then we can expect the price to continue going up. In the second layer, we focus on buyer and seller behavior. It's a fair assumption that the price of Bitcoin is a function of supply and demand. So it's interesting to analyze the actions and the on-chain footprints of network stakeholders to get signals. For example, we are going to zoom in on short versus long-term holders and also look at the cost basis of these investors. This is where we introduce concepts such as HODL waves, coin days destroyed, and other metrics that can help us understand what the key players are doing on chain. This second layer of analysis is going to be crucial for medium to long-term investors who are allocating to Bitcoin. By looking at what the key network stakeholders are doing, we're going to get a sense for overall sentiment and possible medium-term price movements. And finally, the third layer, asset valuation. This takes the analysis a step further and it leverages all the tools introduced in layer 1 and in layer 2 to look at the short to medium term pricing of Bitcoin and to see if there are inefficiencies and opportunities. This will be the focus of the third part of the course. We'll look at how to value Bitcoin and if Bitcoin is overvalued or undervalued versus previous cycles. There is a whole toolkit to do this. It's very interesting and this is going to be useful for active managers, for traders, for shorter term investors, but I also think it's useful for long-term investors who are asking themselves if it's the right time to increase exposure or to potentially consider buying downside protection. So I think you're really going to enjoy part 3. All right, we're now finished with the introduction section, so let's get right into part 1, network health.